It's the Ugly American Werewolf in London Rock Podcast with your host, the Wolf and Action Jackson, who are keeping rock alive by talking classic rock, hard rock, progressive rock, heavy metal, 80s music, early MTV, UK vs. US chart success, and much more. This is the home of classic album and live concert reviews and your place for interviews with artists and legends. You're rocking with the Wolf. Hey, out there, rock and rollers. Welcome to episode number 232 of the Ugly American Werewolf in London Rock Podcast. Brought to you by me, your host, Mac B. the Wolf, and I will be joined, as always, by my partner in crime from the East Coast of the United States, Mr. Gary Action Jackson. And we do want to thank everybody who tuned in to our review of Motley Crue's Theater of Pain, which was celebrating its 40th anniversary here soon. One that kind of introduced a wider world to Motley Crue. Some say they polished their sound too much, changed their look too much, but it still went quadruple platinum. And I still have fond memories of hearing that growing up. But I can't wait to get started on this week's show because Jackson and I got to do something special here this past weekend. We went down to Nashville to see Metallica on their M72 World Tour. Now, longtime listeners know that the Wolf here was at the first two shows of this tour more than 2 years ago in Amsterdam. And we did a couple shows reviewing it. I wanted to share it with Jackson and to share it with the world because very few people in America had had the opportunity to see what it was all about. The huge stage with the snake pit in the middle, the huge pylon towers, must have been 100 feet tall, all of them, with the video screens that work in unison. A really fun time. Not to mention, it's the no repeat weekend. You get one show on Thursday, you get a totally different show on Saturday. No repeated songs, even two different opening acts. And for Jackson, it was his first Metallica concert since we saw them together in college 32 years ago. So we're pretty psyched to bring this to you, see how the tour has evolved a little bit since we first saw them 2 years ago. And this is part one. Episode 233 will be on night 2, which was even better if you can believe it. And there's a bunch of mitigating circumstances there, which we'll get into. But the bottom line is we were psyched to go see Metallica together for the first time in so long. First time for Jackson in a very long time. And to experience this setup, not only of the stage, but the way they play 30 different songs over the course of 2 different nights. It's pretty ambitious. It's pretty epic. It's also a lot of fun. And trust me when I say they were minting money at these shows, but you never felt like you were getting ripped off. You felt like Metallica was really giving you your value and giving something back to the fans who had done so much for them over the years, which is really cool. And we didn't just go because we're part of the Patheon Podcast Network, a network of over 100 shows, including the Metallica Report, hosted by Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson. No, we go because we're huge Metallica fans. And we want to tell you all about it here on the show. But we got a little bit of business to take care of. Yes, we are proud members of the Patheon Podcast Network, and you can learn more at pantheonpodcast.com or follow on socials at Pantheon Pods. But all you record collectors out there need to visit our sponsor, rarevinyl.com. Who is based in the UK, but they have a record collection from all over the world, over 250,000 items strong in their warehouse, and a lot of it's in incredible condition. So if you're looking for a first print Metallica album, or maybe a rare single from a foreign country, a picture disc, something from Japan, they have an incredible selection, and they ship all over the world. The best part is they've given us a code, UGLY, UGLY, that when you use that at checkout, you can save 10% off your whole order. Not just one item, not just the most expensive item, but an entire order. So you find 5 or 10 Metallica items that you can't live without. It runs up $500. Well, you get $50 off with the code UGLY. Might just knock out your shipping charges altogether. So visit rarevinyl.com, use the code UGLY to save a big fat 10% on a big fat order. Your record collection is going to thank you. Now back to Metallica. They're one of the biggest bands in the whole world. Perhaps the biggest rock band in the world. Who else can pull this off? You say U2 could? Sure. If they came back, they probably could. There's some bands that if they came back, they could do it. The Stones could do it. I saw them 2 nights in Hyde Park, and they did mix up their set list. About a third of it, 40% of it was different. But the scale and scope of this stage, the way they have 2 opening acts, and on this night, it was Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera, reformed with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante. It was just a really cool night, a cool thing to be a part of, and we're going to bring you all the details here. So here we go. We're talking Metallica live, night one in Nashville on the M72 tour here on The Wolf. All right, so Jackson, here we are in Nashville, Tennessee for your first Metallica show in 32 years. How's that feel?
It doesn't feel like it, but when you say it like that, I'm like, oh, so old. But yeah, it's crazy to think that much time has gone past. They're still out there doing it.
Yeah.
And it was a killer show. Plenty of energy, plenty of crowd enthusiasm. Yep. So it was an awesome show.
No, it was great. And I was with you at the last show 32 years ago in Naples. So I'm proud to be here with you for this one. And we're proud to be with our buddy Dex, a longtime listener who invited us to stay at his family's home. Appreciate it, Dex. And just a word out to all you listeners out there, be good to your podcast hosts. And maybe, just maybe, you'll have the opportunity to host them at your home while they go out and go to shows. But let's, we got there early. I mean, obviously, it's a big production. It's a huge place. It's where the Titans play football. Mm-hmm. So we get in there super early, sun's still up, all that. And first thing we do is hit the merch tent. And they were making money hand over fist. People couldn't give them their money fast enough. They made millions off of that last night.
That's definitely true, but also, before we even got into the stadium, there was a giant semi parked out in front, which also had a giant line, which I don't think had anything to do with the concert, right? Like, you could just walk up, buy something, and go home. So,
right.
Yeah.
You didn't have to have a ticket to get in that line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they were making money before they even got in there. Yeah, and the line was huge. There wasn't really anybody there per se, but the line was big. So, yeah, we decided to jump in quick because the big get for me was the poster. I got to have the poster if I can get it. And if you wait, somebody actually offered to buy it from me later on.
That's right, yeah.
No, sir.
It's a sweet poster. It's got the big snake over the skull. It looked cool, and yeah, they sold out because he was desperate to pay way more for it.
Right.
But
I was like, I already got a spot picked out on the wall. I already told my son I got it. I can't come home like, well, I made some more money on it. Shut up, Dad.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. But I mean, just to start off at the beginning, to see that setup with those giant towers that are there, it's pretty cool right off the bat, and the stage in the round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, those things, I mean, we just decided to sit there and look at it for a second. I mean, are they 90 feet tall? Are they 100 feet off the ground? And there's 8 of them. Mm-hmm. It's an enormous production. The trucks they must have to use to put all that together, the people, it's got to be huge.
And then the monitors that are suspended from the towers. Yeah. I thought it was going to be loud, and, well, I was right.
Yeah, no doubt. Although, I feel like Pantera may have been louder at points than Metallica was, but we'll get into that. So, as we know on this tour, it's 2-night, no repeat weekends. Metallica does not play the same song twice in their set list between the 2 nights, but they also have 2 different opening acts each night. And so, we don't really go to the opening act if we don't have to. Mm-hmm. We're not the guys who are like, oh, they're there, we got to go see them. So we said, all right, who do they have? Well, the first night, they have Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante filling in for Vinny and Dime. So we're like, okay, well, that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. We got to check that out. For Saturday night, it's Limp Bizkit and Ice Nine Kills, and I wouldn't walk across the street to see fucking Limp Bizkit. Are you kidding me? What a joke. So, needless to say, on Saturday night, we're not going to be there super early.
Right.
Or if we are, we're just going to go hang out in the suite. We'll talk about that later. No, we had good seats. We're lower level, but we're basically in the last row, the second to last row on the lower level. But still great view, straight to the middle of the stage. None of the pylons were in our way. And so I was pretty pleased. And we were on the shady side.
Yeah, that was definitely key because it was well, I don't know if it was hot, like temperature-wise, but sitting in the sun, it would have been uncomfortable.
Us. Yeah, I mean, it was not quite 80 degrees, but if you're just sitting there in the sun for 4 hours, waiting for somebody to come on, yeah, no, but that would have been less pleasant. But so Suicidal comes on. Can't say that I know them really well, but they are legends in the kind of punk hardcore world, and they still got it. I mean, as far as they got the energy, they got the, what's his name, lead singer, he's in his 60s and he's out there ready to fight and take on the world.
That was the big thing that stuck out to me, because for a minute I'm thinking, like, Suicidal Tendencies, like, they've been around for a long time. How the hell old is Mike Muir? And, like, yeah, he's 62 years old, and you would never know that out there. I mean, he ran across, that stage is huge.
Yep. When
it's just 4 people and one drum kit kind of pushed to the side.
Right.
He used everything. They were running around, jumping, and yeah, I mean, I don't really know that many songs, but I mean, the energy was there.
Yep.
The crowd really seemed into it, so going back to what you were saying before about the Limp Bizkit deal, I don't know why they chose them, but Suicidal Tendencies was definitely a good choice to get the crowd going.
Hell yeah, no, it was a good choice. And obviously the crowd weren't all there yet. I mean, they're going on a little after 6. Metallica doesn't come on till 9. And people who had the seats in the sun were like back on the concourse. Like, I'm not going to go sit out there right now. But there was a pretty good crowd on the field,
right,
on the GA part there. Well, it's not really. Yeah, it's GA, and so there were people into it. And when they're just talking ST, the crowd was really into it. So it's tough to do that to a basically empty stadium, but there's 7-10 people deep on the floor there, and those are the people who they're really performing to, and they gave it up for him.
Yeah, I think, didn't he get down on the floor and actually walk into the snake pit at one point in time and get the crowd going? That was pretty cool. And I did see some Suicidal Tendencies shirts in the crowd, so definitely they have the fans out there. I mean, they've been cranking it since 1980, if you can believe that. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we went and saw them, because I wouldn't go to a Suicidal Tendencies show on
its own. Yeah. No, but the other cool thing, of course, was on the bass, Ty Trujillo.
How old is that kid?
I don't know.
He looks very young.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, all those other guys are pretty old. Yeah, they move around pretty well for their age, but I mean, they're obviously middle-aged men. Whereas, yeah, he looks like a kid out there. I mean, I know he's an adult now, but he's skinny, and he just looks young. He's got that Killer Rob hair, though. I mean, he
does, and kind of I didn't see him do the crab walk, but I mean, he's got like the way that he plays, kind of like low and with the strumming technique. Yeah. I mean, you could definitely tell he passed that down.
So that's really cool that they would put them on the bill, and then that gives Ty a chance to perform at these big gigs and be with Dad and stuff like that. And it's not like people don't know Suicidal Tendencies, you know, so, but they usually play clubs.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a huge gig for them, and they were appreciative to be out there. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But not as appreciative as I think Phil and Pantera were. He couldn't stop talking about how happy they were to be there.
Well, as we discussed in the stadium, Phil has had some problems in his life with substance abuse. And I mean, let's face it, he lost 2 of his bandmates who, I mean, they may have had rocky parts in their relationship. They were still brothers to him that are dead, and he was out of a job. Yeah. And so now to have this big comeback and to have Charlie and Zakk, kind of, I don't really think they're in the band. It's more just like they're helping out on tour. Yeah.
They wanted to see Pantera come back as much as anybody did, right? And they can actually do something about it.
Correct. Yeah.
And they were great, by the way.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Just phenomenal. And you were talking about like professional musicians.
Yeah.
They're both, Charlie and Zakk are professional. And the one really cool thing that I liked was that there were 2 drum sets, one on each side. Yeah. And when Charlie came around to our side, he was basically with his back to us. Yep. But you never really get that perspective of the drummer playing. You just see their face and maybe a stick up in the air every once in a while. But to see him working back there, damn, this is a lot of work to play the drums.
Yeah, no, he was working, no doubt. He was moving. He was kicking ass. And then he had on like I don't know if it was a vest or a T-shirt, but it looked like it had the big Peter Criss 3 thing on the back.
Okay, yeah.
The front said Pantera.
Right.
Just like Zakk had a Pantera shirt or something on, or a vest or something. So they're all in on Pantera, but I don't know, I feel like that might be a nod to his hero on the back there.
Yeah, and it was cool because you could actually see it with him going around to the different sides. But yeah, just to see that kit, well, and the Suicidal Tendencies kit is much smaller.
Right.
And so then now you see like a big full kit with him working it back there. And yeah, and to hear, I don't think I've ever gotten to see Zakk play live, even with Ozzy. So that was a treat.
I don't think I saw him with Ozzy, no. I think I saw Black Label Society like at an Ozfest or something like that. I've seen them. But no, I mean, and to see him, and he looks like he's in great shape. He's obviously been working out. His hair is insane. His beard is insane. And then tell me what you learned about what his tech was up to. Because, yeah, I mean, it's this huge stage, so you can't just sit in one place to tap your pedal, right?
Yeah, I saw a video clip of the tech standing off stage watching him intently, and he's working the wah pedal and doing the changes, and I can't even imagine what that pressure's like, because I mean, you know what the set list is, you know what the changes are, but like I need to make sure that I can see you.
Well, yeah,
so that I fire these things off correctly.
That's crazy, not being in charge,
in
control of your own pedal, man. I can't imagine what that's like for Zakk.
But if you notice the and I don't know what the gentleman's name is who was playing guitar for Suicidal Tendencies, but at those parts where he would have to do that, he'd have to kind of get himself over to where the pedal board was and work it. So it really kind of took away from everybody else running around like maniacs. You've got to kind of sit there and work it just to have that freedom to wander around.
All right, so for our perspective, we're on the west side. The Suicidal Tendencies had one drum kit. It was kind of on the, let's call it north to northwest side of the stadium.
Okay.
Of the stage. And yeah, the other four guys are kind of running around. Then when Pantera comes out, Charlie has two kits, one on the east side and one on the west side, kind of where the risers go up.
Right.
On both sides there. And we kind of kept saying, hey, when are they going to put Lars's drum kit? I completely forgot that it basically comes up out of the stage. Like a little elevator kind of puts it up. But there's like three of them, maybe four, I don't know. It's an impressive stage, there's no doubt about it. And I just kind of wanted your perspective first time you saw it live.
Well, I was thinking that I knew he was going to have more than one drum kit. I just thought they would all be up at the same time and he would just kind of walk over. But that actually worked out better because then there wasn't like that weird drum kit sitting there with no one playing it. So that actually was pretty cool. And to see it kind of, they turn the lights down on the stage, but you can still see it go up and down if you look real carefully. So that was kind of cool. And just that whole stage in general was amazing.
That's cool.
I would love to see what was going on underneath there. Show me the perspective of getting the one drum kit ready, or if they move it over, or how you logistically do that. I remember when we saw them in '93, there was no tech presence. Like all you would see is a little hand come up with a guitar.
Oh, right.
And this time they walked out and just handed them over, which is fine. But just I want to see what's going on underneath their little city down there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I mean, back to Pantera. I mean, Phil was really belting it out. He was really doing well. He's wearing no shoes. He's walking around barefoot. They have some Pantera rugs down, I guess, to give his feet a break, but also to do a little viral marketing, I'm sure. But he was belting it out and just talking about being grateful to be there, grateful to be on such a big stage again. And it's just good to see.
Yeah. It sounds like I don't know how he can keep doing that without his voice box exploding. When he talks, he sounds like he chews gravel, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And to hear them play, and just the sheer volume that they were playing at is amazing.
May have been louder than Metallica, and I'm not exaggerating that because look, at this age, I put in earplugs, right? I could take them out for parts of Metallica just to kind of hear it a little bit more clearly. Couldn't do that for Pantera. That then I'd be totally deaf today.
And I mean, and Rex he looked like he always looks. He looks like your skinny. Tweaked out uncle. But he sounded great. The band was fantastic. The one thing that I really liked about Zakk, you said you saw him with Black Label. I've not seen him before. He played enough you knew he was there, but he wasn't trying to outshine anybody either.
Well, that's true, and that's kind of usually his thing is like, look at what I can do here.
Right.
But again, that's a pro. That's like, this isn't really my gig. I'm not here to show you how awesome Zakk Wylde is. I'm here to celebrate Dime and the music of Pantera.
Right.
And so that's probably a big reason why they picked him. Besides, he can play the hell out of anything. I mean, yeah.
He did have the one, whatever guitar he's got now. They aren't Gibsons anymore, but he had the one that kind of looked like the Dime guitar with the lightning bolts on it. That was kind of cool.
Good
shout out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Renee Richardson from the Metallica Report, and you're listening to The Ugly American Werewolf in London. Did I get that right?
All right, let's get into the main event now. Metallica. And they went on a little late. I mean, I'm looking at the stats from the tour. They usually start around 8:45 or 8:50. They start a little after 9 last night. And after I'd been driving, 250 or whatever miles it was to get to Nashville and trying to get us around, I was already kind of worn out. I'm like, oh God, it's 9 o'clock. And now with Metallica's on, like, if I'd been driving all that way normally, plus it's 10 o'clock where we're from at 9 o'clock Central Time, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock. So I'm like, all right, Metallica, let's go. Let's get me going. Let's wake me up, and that's what I needed from them. And, well, they did it. I mean, they came up killing it right out of the gate. Creeping death.
Yeah, and it's nice too because you get a little bit of long way to the top, so you know what's happening. Then they go into Ecstasy of Gold, so then, okay, now I can really kind of get myself psyched. And yeah, to start with Creeping Death, thank you.
So
that was awesome.
Yeah, killer. Now, from what I've seen is they kind of have, although they can play whatever they want, they do kind of have pieces of the set list that are basically the same. Not between the two nights, but between cities. Like night one in Toronto is pretty close to night one in Nashville. And what they do is they come out and play 4 songs that are kind of old classics. And then they take about 4 to 5. They play 4 new songs off of 72 Seasons. They also throw in The Day That Never Comes there. But we'll kind of get to that. Let's go song by song here, because Creeping Death is a killer way to start. If I could pick one of the 30 or 32 songs they're going to do, Creeping Death would definitely be on the list. And to hear, I don't know, 40, 50, whatever it was, 1,000 people saying, die, die, all together is pretty big.
Well, you know they're on the 72 Seasons tour. We get that. But you kind of, to bring out a classic right off the bat to get the band going, or to get the crowd going, that's pretty cool. And just to see those dudes, too, they all look really good for being 60-something years old.
Yeah.
Kirk, I don't know what he did to himself. He had that weird, 90s phase where he was, emo. He was wearing, he had real short hair, and he was wearing eyeliner and everything. He looks fantastic with his hair and his I don't even know what you would call them, the monster guitars. Like, he's got the White Zombie, the Frankenstein, the Ouija board
Bela Lugosi one. Yeah. The Ouija board one was cool. I don't remember seeing that one. That was really cool. Yeah, and they had the green shirt, and James even introduced it. It's my friend Kirk in the green shirt over here.
The song is from one of our albums. It's round with a square cover, that one. And it starts with Kirk, that guy in the green shirt.
It's a hell of a green shirt.
Well, back when we saw him, or for years, it was all black. Right. That's it. And so now, you can kind of, I guess, venture out a little bit.
Kirk is the one with a little more flair, I feel like. James has got to be kind of the head biker dude. Lars has got to be back there with his hat on backwards so you can't see how bald he is. Robert, he had his hair braided, and that's cool, but I mean, he's got the best hair in heavy metal, man. I would let that stuff flow.
The only problem is that I think if you did, you would spend the entire time fighting it.
Whipping it off your face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to keep it tight because you got to play. But I mean, what's it like down past to his knees or something?
Not quite that long. But it wasn't like one big long braid down the back. It was like 4 or 5 ones so that he could kind of whip them around like that. And then, Kirk, he's got a little style to him, man. If I was going to dress like one of them, it would probably be Kirk. But anyway, no, come out with Creeping Death, which is a favorite, and then Harvester of Sorrow, which is pretty heavy. Is that from Justice?
No, Harvester of Sorrow, I believe, is from... Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Justice for All. You are correct. Yeah, and then Leper Messiah. So, I mean, they're keeping it classic for the first 3 of these things.
Yeah, so, and because tonight, they're going to play one from Justice, but not tonight.
Right.
So, they get 1 from Load, 1 from Reload, 1 from Ride the Lightning, 1 from Kill 'Em All, 1 from Death Magnetic, 1 from Justice. And then they've got 2 from the Black Album, 3 from 72 Seasons, and 4 from Master of Puppets. Then they go straight into Leper Messiah, which they did do from Master, which they did back in when I saw them in Amsterdam. That's not actually one of my favorite songs off of Master of Puppets.
Well, okay, so I would agree with you, but they've got 2 entire set lists they have to get through, so they're not all going to be your favorites.
I know, but I haven't seen Four Horsemen much on any of these things, and I would really like them to bring that back, and I don't know that they're going to.
We do have a call scheduled with the band later on, so maybe we'll
just throw that in there.
Let's throw that in there.
Yeah. And then they get into King Nothing, which is, kind of a latter-day hit. It was a 90s hit, I guess. Mm-hmm. When I saw them in Amsterdam, it was King's Day. Konink's Day or whatever.
Okay.
That day. So they say, on King's Day, we're going to play King Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, then but the fact of the matter is I do know the words. I can't say that to all the new songs.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice to be able to know when the breaks come and when to bang your head and when to sing, where's your crown, King Nothing.
And it kind of has that cool bass intro. Boom, 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 boom. So that's not my favorite song, but I knew it, so that's fine.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So that's the first 4, and you can kind of cut this into quarters, right? Those are the first 4 songs. Lars is at 1 drum kit for that. It's the kind of the legacy songs. Then they get into this new kind of the newer songs, right? Mm. They start with the title track 72 Seasons, which I do like, and James breaks out his black...
Oh, that's so cool.
It's not an Explorer, but it looks like one, like a heavy metal Explorer, and it has the yellow 72 stripe down it. I thought those T-shirts with the yellow ring around the collar and then the yellow stripe down on the 72 Seasons, those were the favorite T-shirts that I saw last night.
That was pretty cool until you saw the price on it, but
yeah, it was $60 for those versus $45 for the rest. But I also saw that if you want 2XL, 3XL, or 4XL, you're paying $5 more.
I saw that, yeah,
which is fair, but you're going to sell a lot of those. There are a lot of large Americans. You don't sell nearly as many of those in Europe. Trust me, I was the fattest guy in Europe. I looked like an athlete there last night. Except I was next to Jackson, who looks way thinner than me.
But there was that dude that was in the next section over who was taking up 2.5 seats.
I mean, I don't know if you get to get 2 4Xs and stitch them together. Jesus Christ. I got to take the bacon off the cheeseburger once in a while, dude. Come on. Good Lord. Well, we'll get into the crowd difference here in just a bit.
Okay.
So you go into, 72 Seasons. Then they go to If Darkness Had a Sun. Now, did Lars change kits for that? Are there 3 drum spots or are there 4?
There's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so every 4 songs, you're at one of those,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
So he was on, let's call it the northeast one for the first 4 songs. Okay. Then he moved toward us, northwest, for these next 4 songs. And so new song, 72 Seasons, If Darkness Had a Sun. And then before they go to The Day That Never Comes, which is that's off Death Magnetic.
Yes.
They let Kirk and Rob do a thing. They call it a Kirk and Rob doodle. Mm-hmm. When I saw them in Ireland at Slane Castle.
Oh, okay.
Slane Castle, and they've Slane whiskey. When I saw them at Slane, they definitely let them do that. They let them kind of go have a little fun. And here's something we wrote just for you. And Rob even might sing a little bit. It was more of a jam last night than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see them do something original. Like we worked this up backstage like just for you. It's like not every band does that. So that's cool.
I think that's an interesting dynamic, too, that you've got Kirk, who's been in the band since the first album, and now, well, actually, Robert's been there for quite some time now, too.
He's the longest tenured easily now.
Yeah, but it's like you've got Lars and James, who are the architects of the whole deal, and it's cool that Rob and Kirk can be friends and kind of do their own thing here now to give James and Lars a break for a couple of minutes, because drumming at that age and singing at this age, it takes a lot out of you. So yeah, I'm sure they enjoy just to sit down for 2 seconds and take a breather.
Give me a break, yeah. And I guess they did a little bit of To Live Is to Die in that doodle thing. I mean, I think they kind of warmed up a little bit, but they did the To Live Is to Die, which is off of Justice. It wasn't them doing that song, but that was kind of part of it.
It was harken back to it.
Yeah, and that's cool. And then they do The Day That Never Comes. I do like that.
Yeah.
Even though, Well, Death Magnetic was better than when Saint Anger came out. I'm like, this could be the end of Metallica.
Well, it almost was.
And then Death Magnetic came, and I saw them on that tour. And they're like, James was like, let's just forget about the Saint Anger album. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. It doesn't exist. I think they have a little bit different view of it now, and there's a possibility we'll see something from it Saturday night. Right. I wouldn't want them to. I would rather them playing something from anything from the first 5 albums, or even stuff from Load. But yeah. And then it goes into Shadows Follow from 72 Seasons. However...
Not right at the beginning.
However, before they move to the next drum kit or whatever, they start doing a little bit of Smoke on the Water. And so Kirk's doing a little bit of it, and then Lars kind of comes in for a little bit of it. Then eventually the bass is boom, 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 boom. But then James isn't really singing it, and then it was kind of weird, to be honest.
Something was wrong with the drum kit. Because I saw Lars get up and say something to James, and then he just started to jam a little bit. Something was wrong. The tech came out. They were messing with it, but it was cool to hear him play just kind of impromptu thing. Yeah, I don't know if James really had all the words right in his brain.
Right.
Like I know, Smoke on the Water, but the intro part, I don't know. It was kind of cool to see. Something was wrong in the show, but they covered it up. Not covered it up, but they played it off pretty well. I mean, it's a live show. And
stuff happens.
And especially something like that where you're moving this drum kit around. I don't know if something like fell off or something, but just to put it all back together without the, throwing things around, or just, it was only probably 3 or 4 minutes that it was. Yeah. But they got it all put back together. But it was kind of fun just to hear them play that for me. Like, hey, that's not a Metallica song.
Yeah. It's fun,
Yeah.
So that's kind of the halfway point there. But I got to tell you, I felt like it was more than half an hour where you go 72 seasons. If Darkness Had a Son, you let Kirk and Rob do their thing. Then you do Day That Never Comes. And then you do Shadows Fall with the kind of incident with the Smoke in the Water.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of the show. And honestly, to me, it caused a lull in the show. Like, you come out and you do these 4 songs that everyone knows pretty well. And look, we're glad they do new music. The new album is the best they've done in years, so I was happy to to listen. And I like those songs that they did, but the crowd doesn't know them that well, so they're not fist in the air screaming along. They're kind of like nodding, yeah, this is all right, And the Kirk and Rob doodle, although it's fun, it's a go take a piss and get another beer moment in the show as far as the old people are concerned. And then, although The Day That Never Comes again is a cool one, but it's a slower one.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Good song, no doubt, but it's a slower one, and then another new song. And so what's that, 35, maybe 40 minutes? I feel like they need to break that up. I feel like they should push the new songs around a little bit more than just having this huge chunk where everyone's like, it's good, but I don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So yeah, maybe you come out and do Creeping Death first to get everybody jacked up, and then you go into 72 seasons because, hey, this is the tour. This is what we want to play.
And that's a heavy one,
right?
So it's a good one to follow.
And then you kind of get that not out of the way, but you get it mixed up a little bit more, because you're right. After a while, you're like, okay, while yes, we do love that record.
Yeah,
I'm here for the hits.
It's not all we're here for.
Correct.
Yeah, and you're going to play 3 or 4 more tomorrow. So give me the 4 Horsemen, damn it. But then they go into Orion, which I love, and they open with that first night in Amsterdam when I saw them. I just thought that was a killer way to, because they piped the intro in.
Right.
And when I was in Amsterdam, it was like the sun was setting, but it was coming through like the end zone or something like that. And plus there's all this smoke, so there's like this haziness. I'm like, it looked really cool. I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. But I love Orion. They played it for a while.
Yeah, it was kind of the extended
version of it, and I dug it. But again, for the casual fans, and when you have 40, 50,000 people, there's going to be casual fans there.
Right.
You play an instrumental with, no vocals, and they don't play it on the radio much. For us, like, yeah, Orion's the bomb. But again, for those who are coming for hits, and you're about to get into them, but that's just like 6 songs in a row where you're kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah. Right. Good for us, but I don't know. I feel like a little bit of the wind went out of their sails during that part.
Yeah, I would agree with you. This was an odd choice to stack it up like that.
Yeah, but of course afterwards James came on and said, we dedicate that to our brother Clifford Lee Burton, and we love you and we miss you, wish you were here. And then I guess they do. They always do. Look, Metallica is good to their fans. They do a lot of good work around the world. They're All Within My Hands Foundation is donated lots of money to like disaster relief, but they also do this really cool thing where they support like programs at community colleges and get people in to get some experience, to get some associate's degrees or get equipment, or if you just need gas money to be able to get there, they get you that.
Yeah.
Like giving back to their community is a real big part of it. And they do a Make-A-Wish every night, and they met a kid, his name was Noah, and dedicated Nothing Else Matters to him. And so, you know, not everybody does that. And so that's just kind of part of who they are. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got to be a cool feeling, too, if you're the band. I mean, yeah, you're popular, everybody loves you, but to have somebody say, we'll give you any wish that you want. I want to go see the band. Like, that's a pretty heavy duty. We need to make sure we really acknowledge this kid and give him what he came for.
I mean, remember when Journey did it?
No, stop with that.
I don't think they ever did it again. I think it broke them up too much.
I mean, yeah, like there was an interview with Neil Schon like 20-something years later, and he's still bawling his eyes out.
Same with Jonathan Cain. It's like, this isn't fair. You know? And you know, Steve had to be taken into a different room to go cry his eyes out.
Yeah, like you can have anything in the world, and you want to talk to a shithead like me, okay? Yep. Like that's too much. It's too much pressure to put on me. But I mean, it is cool, and it did make you think for a minute. Like we're having a good time, but there are people that are having a tough time. So it is cool that they do the charity work. The other thing that was cool too is when they did the All Within My Hands on the big screens, they had the big QR codes that you could just scan right there from your phone.
Yeah, no. So before Suicidal, and then was it also before Pantera, or was it before Metallica? I can't remember. They did it twice.
Yeah.
They kind of run this thing where they have Renee Richardson from the Metallica Report, who runs All Within My Hands. She has been on our show before, to kind of introduce what they're up to and all that kind of stuff, and they show them working with kids or working with people in the community colleges or whatever. And then also James and Robert come on and do this big suicide prevention kind of public service thing.
Right.
It's like, look, it affects everyone. It hits rich and poor and men and women and old and young. And, you know, it might be a temporary financial situation. It might be because you're leaving the military. It could be, you know, it's okay to talk about, because I got a feeling James has been down that road in his mind before.
Well, we talked about that on the Ride the Lightning show. There's no way you wrote Fade to Black. And it was about some guitar equipment that was stolen. No,
it was not.
So. I don't think so. Yeah, and just and that's tough too, especially for like a gentleman to have. I mean, you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be, everything is cool. I can handle it.
You can't take it. What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially in the turbocharged masculine world of heavy metal.
Correct.
Right. I mean, when Cliff died, they're like, we don't care. You know, just go get another bass player. I'll just drink my way through this. Yeah, they've all been in therapy for a long time, but they can afford it. They used to pay $40,000 a month for it. That's what they paid that guy.
Oh my God.
In that movie, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I think he's part of the band. he thinks he's part of the band. Can we sack him? Yeah, let's sack him. They love sacking people. Anyway. But, you know, Nothing Else Matters is a great song. But James was sitting down to play
the intro part.
The intro bit, yeah. And speaking of crying, Elton John made him cry on the Howard Stern show.
That was
told him it was one of the best songs ever written.
That was huge to see him do that. Yeah. Because I don't even think they knew he was coming on. They had him on like the
Zoom or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, that's one of the best songs ever written. And like he like
James like,
yeah, like I can't what like.
And he started crying, and then Lars was like, you know, my friend here, by his reaction, and James was like, It's like, I'm not crying.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter to me. And I'm like, yeah, it does, dude.
Well, wasn't this the song he didn't even want? And he played it for Lars, and he's like, no, we are going to record this. Because he said it wasn't heavy enough, it wasn't Metallica enough. He's like, no, this is perfect.
It's a good song, yeah. And he does the solo on it, which is pretty rare.
Right.
So, no, it's great to see.
Hi, my name's Stefan Shirazi from the Metallica Report, and you're listening to the Ugly American Werewolf in London.
And then they go straight into Sad But True, which is heavy, and everybody loves it, right? So I was psyched about that. Now, one thing, when I went to Amsterdam, there's no Setlist FM to look at. This is the first night of the tour. We don't really know what to expect. At this point, they've done it a few times. And while they can mix it up a little bit, they do kind of tend to stick to for the most part, to certain things every time. So, like, for instance, in Toronto, it was, in the first quarter, it was Creeping Death, Harvester of Sorrow, then Holier Than Thou,
Okay.
and then King Nothing, instead of Leper Messiah and then King Nothing. Then they go into the new stuff, and it's basically exactly the same. 72 seasons, Darkness Had a Sun, The Doodle, Day That Never Comes, and Shadows Follow.
Okay.
Then they go, same thing for both shows, Orion, Nothing Else Matters, and Sad But True. So it's the same. But while they got Fight Fire with Fire in Toronto, we got Battery. And I was back up on my feet because, look, I know the Black Album. We saw it 32 years ago. It's been on the radio a million times. I'm glad that they play it, but I'm not there for that. I want to hear Ride the Lightning. I want to hear Master of Puppets. I want to hear that stuff. And so I was psyched when they broke out Battery because I obviously didn't know it was coming. So there's a few places where they might mix it up a little bit from those first nights. But for the most part, they know what they're going to do, and they just plug in 2 or maybe 3 that might change. Because the last 3 songs are generally always the same. But I loved Battery. I loved seeing it. It was killer. And it was around that time that Rob was like, you should see all the musicians backstage in Nashville. Like, it is a who's who.
I can't even imagine
in
that.
Nashville, it must be like L.A. Seriously, like everyone who's coming out to see them, it must be intense.
But speaking of Rob, at what point in time was he crab walking through the
snake pit? You pointed it out to me at first. I thought at first he was just kind of had his head over him, like,
and I did too. And I'm like, now he's in the crowd.
And then he kind of like, it was like he surfed over. I'm like, is he like on a board, or something? And they're just pushing that around. And I don't think that's the case.
He was on something that looked like it was part of the stage that kind of detached a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was definitely moving through, but at the same level.
Because he wasn't like going from foot to foot or head to head on people's shoulders or whatever. Like it was level that he was kind of like surfing across on this thing. I'm like, that's pretty fun.
And that's a cool thing too, because I mean, I didn't know that was a deal, but to have him like 3 inches from your face there coming through, and I mean, they're all there for crowd service. That was awesome.
That was fun. And then there was the part that I told you was coming, which maybe we'll get Fight Fire with Fire on Saturday night. I don't know. When you have a song that has fire or flames in the name,
right?
That's where they blow the pyro.
Well, I was kind of thinking that maybe that would be either not there or severely brought back because of the whole Montreal thing. Nope. He goes into give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Boom. Bam. I mean, the whole stage blows up. There's pyro on every single part of it.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
I hope I got a little piece of that because on video, because that was just fantastic. The whole thing is on fire, and that's maybe that's not my favorite song that they ever did, but with all of that, that was pretty memorable.
It's a highlight of the night, if you ask me, man. I mean, you're right. It's not my favorite song. It's not from my favorite album. Blah blah blah. But live, it delivers, And then on the towers where they have the video, instead of just showing the guys playing, it was like they had outlined silhouettes of them, and it's like their features were on fire. It's like their silhouettes were on fire or like golden, like it was burning. I'm like, that's a pretty cool effect.
Right.
Not to mention when he's talking about burns with gasoline, all 8 of those were like pistons firing. And so it was like, it was like a V8 in a big circle, like boom, boom. I thought that was cool. I think that was the best visuals to me of the whole night.
Yeah, and I'm glad they only used it on one song, because I think if they had come back to it, you're like, I kind of already seen this, and but to just do it on the one, and I mean, they did it through the whole song too. So that was really cool. Just make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be.
Well,
I noticed that at that point in time, James was on one of those risers, and there was not anything close to where he was. It wasn't like it was on either side. They were way far away from him.
He knows what he's doing now.
He does now,
but get ready when they do Moth into Flame on Saturday night. You'll see some of those effects again.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Is my promise to you. And then they do Seek and Destroy, which not only is it the only one from the night from the first album, I think it's the only one they're going to do
Oh, that's it?
Over both nights.
Okay.
At least that's the way it usually works out. But that's an epic, and they can do that for 10 minutes,
Right.
and they can just sit and get the crowd really into it. It was great. And of course, you end up the night with Master. Master. Crowd was in a froth at that point. We were on our way out, but we still heard it.
Oh, you could hear it from
down the street,
miles away. I mean, you were making that comment like, I'm surprised they didn't get in trouble for going over the time limit and noise ordinance.
It is rare that you can, especially for an outdoor show. I mean, arena's one thing, but this is an outdoor show. Generally speaking, you can't go past 11 p.m. I don't know. They seem to get a little bit of a late start. They also seem to have, I don't know if it's technical difficulties.
See, it's something that delayed it for a couple of minutes.
Wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
So my guess is on Saturday they'll try to start a little bit earlier. But that's a killer set list. And comparing it to 32 years ago in Naples, what are your impressions?
Well, first of all, I don't understand how they even played that place in Naples because it was tiny, which was cool because it was more, we were on top of them more. But I mean, the stage was all the way mashed up against one side of the deal. Right. This was, I mean, just to walk in there and see the scope of this thing with really nobody there on the floor yet, it was awesome. And I kind of thought they'd get lost on the stage because it was so big, but they really just kind of keep to one kind of quadrant for those shows, so they're not like, because when Suicidal Tendencies was out there, they were running all over the stage. I'm like, okay, this has to stop because it's too much. But they kind of stayed in one spot to play to that part of the crowd. And listen, if you bought the snake pit tickets, that's a lot of money. You want them not to be running past you all the time. Yeah. So I think it worked out. I think it worked out well. I mean, they sounded phenomenal. Yeah. They obviously have more songs now that they can play than 32 years ago. But just the fact that they're still around, they're still wanting to make new records. I understand that the whole Jason Newsted thing that ended poorly, right? But it's cool that they've had Rob in the band for so long, who seems like just the chillest guy on the face of the earth. Yeah, it was phenomenal, and the fact that they can do this in this format too, where it's 2 shows. I know. So you're not getting them at the end of a 22 show run where they're just beat up. Right, and for over 2 years now. I mean, those shows that I went to were in April of 2023. Here we are in May of 2025, and they're still doing it. It's impressive, and they mint money. They make a ton of money do this, but it's not just about money. Like I said, they're doing a lot to give back to their community. They're always saying thank you, welcome to the family. You know, he did say once you're in, you can't get out. Once you're in, you can't get out. Now, there were some new members of the family there last night, including some people who decided, even though they did not buy the tickets in front of us, they were in the upper deck, but they thought they'd just calm down since no one was sitting there and take those seats over. Yes. And they were the classiest, best smelling, attractive people on the planet. What was it, a family? What was the dynamic there? I don't even know. There was a mom and a dad. The one daughter definitely looked like she was of them. The other one... Was that the one with the blue top on? The other one was the skankiest thing I've ever seen. I think I did text you at one point in time. She is the literal textbook definition of a skank. And she's like wearing nothing out with her mom and dad. And she was hopping up and down and jumping around like she was a Metallica cheerleader throughout most of the show. She had this jet black dyed hair. She had this enormous forehead. God. Now, the only thing I will give her points for is during Pantera, she did tape a lot of it, or video with her phone, like just jerking the phone all around, like you're never going to watch this. And my thing was, if this is going to be the whole rest of the show, we're going to have a problem. But I guess she just gave up on that because I didn't really see her videoing that much during the Metallica show. I bet she doesn't have a big following on Instagram, is my guess. But then they went and got more people. Like they went up to get their buddies, like, hey, man, don't sit up here in the nosebleeds. Come down, you know. So, because like half the row didn't show up, you know. So, but I wish we had gone and found 2 seats further down just so we wouldn't have had them in front of us the whole time. And then the one guy was like, after he had a few beers, and it was like, he wants to high five everybody. He wants to talk to everybody in front of him. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't come here to see Metallica. I wanted to listen to your drunken nonsense. Thank you for, yelling that in my ear. Right. And then the one woman who was just screaming the whole time. Like she didn't know any of the words. She didn't really know the song. She's putting her hand up. I'm like, who are you screaming for? I can't hear you. But I can, and you're making a bunch of damn noise.
Metallica is here. Metallica's here. Metallica family is here in Nashville. This here is night one. Metallica is super grateful as a band to still be, after 200 plus years, still up here doing what we love to do. And seeing your faces show up for it too, it still blows our mind. We are very grateful. Thank you, Metallica family, for coming here and supporting live music, all right?
But when they said, hey, anybody here for the first time, they all put up their hands.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Which I thought was weird. I'm like, well, I thought you would have been fans from back in the day, but okay.
But no, that was my 6th, I guess, Metallica show. And I'm looking forward to our 7th because we might have different seats.
So I've heard.
I've heard, yeah. So we had to park, I don't know, half a mile away. Wasn't a big deal.
No.
But we had to pass all these parking lots that had specific passes. Well, thanks to a couple connections, we are getting a parking pass for Saturday night, and apparently are going up into the box for catered food and air conditioning, and it's going to rain on Saturdays, so hopefully we'll stay dry in there. But it's on the opposite side of the field, so we'll have to tell you all about that.
Oh yeah, there'll definitely be a part 2 where we hobnob with the elites of the heavy metal world.
Or just some corporate folks who didn't want to come on Thursday.
That's fine too. I don't care, whatever. If I get free food and I don't get wet, that'll be fantastic.
That's a deal, yeah. Well, that was our take on night 1 in Nashville for Metallica on the M72 tour. A beautiful night in Nashville. Jackson and I saw our first Metallica show together in 32 years. In fact, the first show at all for Jackson in 32 years, so now he's been to 2 shows, and I've been with him for both of them. And there's going to be a 3rd show, because next week's episode is going to be all about night 2, Saturday, May 3rd in Nashville. And for those of you thinking, okay, well, I already heard the first night, the second night's going to be about the same. Oh, no, it won't. There's a lot of different factors between the first 2 nights, one of which was the weather. It was a torrential downpour, and also we had a lightning strike within the area, which delayed the start of the show. Also, we were in the owner's suite for night 2. A 2-box suite that was right on the 50-yard line with catered food, bartenders, an incredible view, and shelter from the storm. Not to mention amazing people who we can't wait to introduce you to, who took very good care of us. And the set list was even better. Not to mention there are 2 different warm-up bands, and we'll tell you all about them as well. And once again, we have to give a shout out to our longtime listener, Dex, and his wonderful family who put us up in their home, let us come and go as we pleased. And we had to come and go pretty late at night. And on Saturday, his kids were getting ready for prom. So we felt like we were intruding a little bit, but they never made us feel that way. His wife was amazing, sweet and fun and beautiful woman. They were just really good to us. So just shows you guys, hey, you got a podcast that you love. You might be able to host them in your town if there's an event that makes sense. So thank you to Dr. Dex and all the Dexes for making our stay really enjoyable. And we want to know, folks, did we get something right? Did we get something wrong? Did we miss the point? Did we leave out your favorite part? Email us and let us know. It's uglyamericanwerewolf@gmail.com. You can let us know the bands, the albums, the concerts, the tours, the DVDs, the rock properties you want to hear us talk about here on the show. You need to make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Downloads are the lifeblood of growing our show. And we've seen people go ahead and go download our back catalog once they get into us. That's great. It's a huge help to us. But another way to help us that's bigger than you might realize is giving us a 5-star review. It doesn't matter where you do it, and if you want to do it in more than one place, that's wonderful. But a 5-star review just helps us find more rockers like you, helps us get more guests on the show, and if you send it our way, we might just read it on an episode. Thanks as always to Pantheon Podcasts for making us part of the family. And thanks to our sponsor, RareVinyl.com. For use the code UGLY, you can save 10% off one entire order. That's it for this week, but next week we dive into the epic and amazing Night 2 Phil at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, which I'm telling you was even better than Night 1, so you're going to want to stay tuned. And to all you rockers all around the world, be cool and keep doing what you do to keep rock alive.